All right, I'm gonna pretend I didn't even pause it. Okay, so my number 2 pick then is going to be Tower of Terror, as a lot of you probably guessed. Like I said, they're practically tied, but I think I'm going to give Tower of Terror just a hair above Rock and Roller Coaster, just because, like, oh man, whoever invented that ride, like whatever Imagineer came up with the idea for that, they needed. I hope they got a raise. I hope they got promoted, because it's a genius idea. So Tower of Terror. Okay, so I guess I have a lot of time now, but Tower of Terror basically. Let's see. I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, I guess they're unofficially using it as the icon of the park because ever since I got rid of the hat and all that, which. If you're gonna take away something as sacred as a park icon, you better replace it, like, right then and there, within a few days. Like, why take away something when you don't know what you're gonna replace it with? I don't think anyone was saying, like, oh man, that blasted hat, I really want to go to Hollywood Studios, but I can't because they have that hat there, and I really don't like that, and I don't like the park now because of it. I don't think anyone was saying that, and I understand, it's probably like, oh, they had to move it to make way for something else. I mean, what even was over there? The Great Movie Ride, but that's something else. It was like toward the front of the park. Maybe it's a gift shop. I don't know, but like the whole Star Wars Galaxy's Edge thing, that was over in a different part of the park, and where Toy Story Land is another thing that beats me. But in any case, it's not my place to say. But they're basically, like on the Disney app, they don't outright say it, but it's the Tower of Terror. It's basically the park icon now. And I guess it makes sense. It's the tallest thing at the park, but you gotta call it like it is. You gotta say, hey, the Tower of Terror is the new park icon. We're not gonna replace it anytime soon. I mean, not the ride, but the icon or whatever. Anyway, so the ride. I mean, it looks really, it looks intimidating, but it looks realistic. Like the building, it looks like an actual fancy hotel, a resort rather. And I mean, the theming's immaculate. You go through the queue, they have the whole outdoor portion, which, okay, it works, alright. And so then they have this little undercover portion, which, same thing. And then you get inside, and, whoa, it's jaw-dropping. You get in there. First of all, I love that they went out of their way to, again, I'm not familiar with the lore here, this is about the same time frame as Rock and Roller Coaster, I think, but the Twilight Zone, they have nothing to do with Disney, but, I'm really surprised that, of all things, they would seek out the Twilight Zone, because, like I said, they're Disney. They have all the choices in the world, basically. Whatever genre they're looking for, they got a dozen choices at their disposal. But they went and they, even within the genre of, classic family sci-fi or something, they got a lot of choices, but they went with the Twilight Zone. And, and I know I've talked about theming before, but as far as theming goes, this is the flight of passage of Hollywood Studios, for rides. I mean, Tower of Terror. I mean, it's like they looked up a picture and then replicated it exactly, or just better yet, transferred where the picture was taken, because they're Disney and they can buy anything they want. And just transferred it over to there. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So you go inside briefly. I wish more of the queue was inside. But, it looks like an actual, old-fashioned but abandoned hotel lobby. Like I said, the theming's done to a T. I can't emphasize that enough. And so you go in this little pre-show chamber, and, there's a dim light and everything. It's like a library, I think. It's like I said, the theme is just immaculate. Just little hidden stuff here and there, and little references to things. I watched a whole documentary just on this one ride. It's really, really impressive. And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and it's you feel like you're in the Twilight Zone. It's just it's so good. And the TV turns, they got the flashes of static real quick, and then Rod Serling comes up, and it's not an impersonator, it's actually Rod Serling, which I didn't even know he was still alive. I mean, he looked just like he did in the 60s, I think. But, and it's in black and white, and it's he still has the same voice and the same dress, and like it looks like it's an actual opening to an episode of The Twilight Zone. And like, tonight, like the script they gave him, or maybe he wrote it, I don't know, but just the script that he has is just like, it's exactly like to a T what an episode would be like. And they made one up from scratch too, which I guess was the way to go. But and it's like, this is the story of a haunted hotel, whatever, that you're in, on an evening very much like the one you've just witnessed, which, how did I guess that it's dark out every time? But, the people stepped in the elevator, whatever, there's a whole, thematic thing to it. And it's like, the Tower of Terror, then the door opens. And so, you go in, the way it's not over then, though, you go through a few rooms. You're in, like, a basement area. And again, it's just, like, it's really impressive. Like, for them to think this stuff up, I mean, like I said, like, they're really avoiding the cliches. Like, they pay attention to detail really well. Like, they stay true to it. Like, they're like, let's make a Twilight Zone-themed attraction. All right, if we're going to do that, we're going to make, like, a full throttle Twilight Zone attraction. And so that's exactly what they did. And so you eventually get to the ride, and it's really intricate the way that works. It's a whole system. I'm not even going to start to explain it, but there's videos on that if you want to check it out. Just look up like how Tower of Terror works. It's really, really impressive. And it's like I said, it's such a unique idea. Like this, to the best of my knowledge, it has never been done before until they did it. They were the first ones to do something like that. So they had to innovate a lot of, I think, the design for the ride vehicle and the wire technology and like the shaft and the program, the safety thing, the magnetic, like everything. It's so innovative, like it's so different, and they just blow it off like it's nothing. Like, it's the Tower of Terror, it's just another ride. And man, like, the ride, it's so good at like building tension and suspense too. It's so like thematically appropriate. It's incredibly immersive. You feel like you're actually in the Twilight Zone. And of course they have the theme song, and the opening, sorry. And so you go up a little bit, you go into like a showroom, and then so you're in like an elevator shaft. It's just believable. It feels like that, and then all of a sudden it starts to move and it goes out. It goes into this room. You're like, oh, what happens now? And like you pass by all this weird, wacky stuff and everything, and then you go into another shaft, but it's pitch black, and you don't know what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden the ride starts, and it's different every time. Sometimes you go up, sometimes you go down, sometimes you go all around. Sometimes there's a fake out ending, like maybe one every 5 times. Where it's like, they'll play the outro, whatever, and like it'll feel like you're starting to move backwards, but really the screen's just getting a little farther away, and then all of a sudden you'll drop again, or go up or whatever. It's really good at creating suspense, and tension and all that. And so it's randomized. You'll probably never get the same ride twice, no matter how many times you go on it. So it's hard to be prepared for. But it's a random sequence of ups and downs. In the shaft, and that lasts maybe a minute and a half, but it feels like a long time. The whole ride's like 4 minutes, so it's a decent length. And then it drops you back off, whatever. And one thing I think is really cool on the way out, there's this gift shop, and they have like, because I think they take your photo. Yeah, they take your photo on the ride, and so they take your photo on the ride, and then you could get your picture at the gift shop. And I think it's really clever what they do. First of all, there's all kinds of trinkets there and stuff to read that nobody cares about that that I read and stuff like that. But like the sign says "picture if you will," and then ... And I just always think that's so clever. And that's the kind of stuff that's going the extra mile. Like they didn't have to do that. Nobody would complain if they didn't do that. No one would say like, oh, you can't be true to the Twilight Zone if you don't say picture if you will. But it's just like, it's one of those things they think up. Like you get in the mindset of it. And like I said, it's less about the theme and more just about the mindset of it. How much can you expound upon that? Can you get into that groove, into that rhythm and be like, all right, let's pretend I'm the head executive now of the Twilight Zone. Like what's something I would put in there? So it's just a neat little thing. It's not much, but it's just an example more than anything. But wow, I talked about this 10 minutes now? Ooh, I guess I really did need that extra part. But so yeah, that's the number 2 spot. And before we get to number 1, I'm going to mention some honorable mentions here. Okay, so let's see. Things I'm not giving an honorable mention: Frozen sing-alongs, Beauty and the Beast live on stage, the god-awful dance parties. I guess I'll give Voyage of the Little Mermaid an honorable mention. It's not bad. They got it's a little mix of everything. They got screens. It's not 3D, but they got screens. They got puppetry. They got live action. Someone in a costume and they're singing and all that. They got a projector on the walls and stuff. They blow bubbles at one point, I think. There's some cool tricks they do with the lighting and such. So it's not bad. It's not crap. It's not cheesy. But it's just that it would probably be number 11. But let's see what else. They got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. The Star Wars Launch Bay and the Star Wars Galactic Symphony and this whatever it's called, the nighttime show. I'm sure I would love those two, probably more so the Launch Bay, if I was more familiar with Star Wars. Because I walked through the Launch Bay a little bit ago, and I had no idea what I was looking at. So everyone around me was just, snapping pictures, and I was just like, that's neat. So I can't put it on the list because, like I said, I'm not going to claim to be an expert on something I'm not. But for all you Star Wars enthusiasts out there, you're probably going to want to check out the Launch Bay. You'll probably like it. And the nighttime fireworks show, it's the Star Wars one. I think it's a little cheesy. Like, I think even Star Wars fans would be pretty disappointed. It's a projector show, so they just have like little 10-second clips from the movie with like iconic quotes, playing there, on the great movie ride built Chinese theater. I'm surprised I remembered that. But with fireworks occasionally, like at the end of every scene, maybe. And it's kind of underwhelming, I think, and it doesn't help that I'm not too familiar with the movies either. That's just like that's an icing on the cake there. But yeah, that's another thing that exists. One thing. See, when I think attractions, I think rides, shows, and in the case of like Animal Kingdom, maybe walking trails or something like that. Well, Launch Bay is a walking trail. But one thing that restaurants, okay, that's what I'm getting at here. I don't typically consider restaurants attractions because attractions to me are something that's covered with park admission. If it's an upcharge, it's like a premium experience. But you gotta eat, whatever. I mean, I grew up in a family that we brought our own food to the park so we could get around that, but that's beside the point. There's a restaurant there, and I'm gonna preface this by saying, because we have a lot of time apparently, but Hollywood Studios to me has always been last place in food, because I feel like it's nothing special. Like, I feel like you could probably get better food at the actual Hollywood, it's just typical American cuisine: burgers and fries and Coca-Cola, and hot dogs and chicken nugget, and chicken tenders, chicken fingers, sorry, and like milkshakes and stuff like that. Just cliche things, which is all right if you want to have a feel like that, but have something out there. And I didn't think there was until recently. I was introduced to this restaurant called the Sci-Fi Drive-In Theater Restaurant or something like that. I don't know. But man, it knocked my socks off, It's not only is it the best restaurant in Hollywood, it's the best in all 4 parks. And when you bring Disney Springs into the equation, things get complicated, but it might even take the cake overall. It very well may be the best theme park dining experience I've ever had. And it's probably just because it's right up my alley as far as thematically goes. Honestly, I think it would be more appropriate on Sunset Boulevard, like maybe by Tower of Terror, but it's already kind of a crowded area. But it's like, I feel bad for them. The location, they're in the middle of nowhere. I mean, they're by Muppet Vision and Star Tours. So if you want to check it out, it's basically across from Muppet Vision. a little bit over, but pretty much across. Just ask a friendly staff member for directions, I'll tell you. But this restaurant, I mean, the menu itself, I don't want to spoil it for you. The menu's not bad. The menu's pretty good. Probably the best menu in the park still, but that's not even what sets it apart. I'm a sucker for aesthetic and presentation, and man, this restaurant is way more immersive than it needs to be. I mean, like, people are gonna eat anyway. It doesn't need to be immersive, but they really go overboard with it. They go all in. It's always got a super long wait from my experience, except for one time I was there on like a Sunday and it only had a 20-minute wait, which was really surprising. But be prepared like for a 90-minute wait. So, but it's okay because what you do, you don't have to like it's not like they give you a buzzer and you have to sit there for an hour and a half and wait. Like no, they'll take your name, they'll take your phone number, and they'll text you, and you have like 5 minutes to get over there. So you better not be in line for a ride or anything. But so you could go do some other stuff. Get a drink, they use the bathroom, probably in that exact order, and then, they walk around, have a sit down and talk, whatever. But, if you have the Fast Pass thing and you have, like, a return time, you could go do that. Or if you just have the straight-up Fast Pass, just go on a few rides, whatever. But, it won't cancel your return time, it's like, you can have two going on once if one of them is a restaurant. Another thing with that one, if you can, reserve a car. So, hopefully, if you have the Disney app, you know how to make reservations for dining. I didn't until just recently, but I think it's like, My Plans, Make a New Plan, Dining, Reservation, something like that. But find a restaurant, and you got to make it at least a few days in advance. So if it's like a spur of the moment, like, hey, let's go to Disney World if you live close by, it's probably not going to work out. But if it's like a premeditated, all right, we're going there on this day, in this month, try to book a car. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but you're gonna thank me. I didn't get the privilege. I've only been there once, and it was just regular seating. But I saw the people on the cars, and I was envious. I'm like, oh man, it's going to be me next time. I know it. But even if you don't get that, it's still wonderful. They give out free popcorn to people waiting like every 10 minutes. So if you do choose to stick it out, that's something at least. And they have this little ritual they do before, each, like if it's your first time there, before they seat you. I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but I'll just say it's one of a kind. And you get there, it's really immaculately themed. And I'm not going to spoil the theme for you. I mean, the title says, more than enough already. It's a sci-fi drive-in theater restaurant. That's all you need to know. But I will say that the theming's a 10 out of 10. The food's awesome. It's great. It's great. The only thing that's modern about it are the prices. I've said too much. Okay. Let's see. I think that's it. Wow, it's been 18 minutes. We didn't even get to number one, which is where I was planning on spending the most time. But I kind of got to go soon, so we'll see how much I can abbreviate this. I'll just talk really fast, I guess. So take a moment now to try to guess what number one is. I think you've already guessed that it's not a ride, because I've already covered all the rides. And you might be saying, like, man, he's already gone through all the shows that they still have. Indiana Jones, Muppet Vision, Walt Disney One Man's Dream, Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Frozen. Oh, man, what else could it be? He even talked about the fireworks show and everything. I mean, so just pause. Some of you may already be saying it, but just pause the video and, debate with whoever you're watching this with. Okay. All right, I'm going to say it. 3, 2, 1. It's Fantasmic. Oh, yeah. Perhaps the greatest show... let me get on top of this chair here. Perhaps the greatest show in all of Disney World. It is Fantasmic. Honestly, there's no other way to put it. That word really sums it up more accurately than I think any other could. I'm trying to think of stuff I said the last 2 times I made this video. Okay, like, whatever you're looking for, it's got it. You want screens, it's got it. You want water, it's got it. You want fireworks, it's got it. I love fireworks, You want live acting, it's got it. You want animatronics, it's got it. You want a killer soundtrack, it's got it. You want a nice, long, full 30-minute show, it's got it. You want fire, pyrotechnics, choreography, musical numbers, but not like in a cringy way. Like just a sheer amount of energy. Oh, whatever you're looking for, it's got it. It's an all-in-one, and it doesn't like try too hard either. If anything, it undersells, it short sells itself. Fantasmic's kind of just stated in a matter-of-fact kind of way. I guess maybe because it's been there for so long, but it's like, yeah, Fantasmic's tonight at 8:30 or whatever, wherever, and it's just kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. But I insist on seeing that show every time I go there, even if it means getting one or two fewer rides in, because it's just that blasted good. It's leagues above even Tower of Terror. Like this, it's very well could be my favorite theme park attraction ever of all time. There's only I think 2 that I can think of that come close. We'll discuss them in future videos. But man, this show. Oh, and I'm gonna take my hat off in respect for this show and show you all how greasy and sweaty and disgusting my hair is. The Fantasmic is just like, if you don't feel something during this show, you are a robot. You are inhuman. If you are a warm-blooded, 100% authentic, carbon-based, reptilian-descendant Homo sapien, you will feel something during this show. Now, it really frustrates me. It really gets on my nerves when I'm sitting next to someone there who's just like on their phone, like texting or whatever. I mean, recording it's a little bit better because at least they somewhat care about the show, but it kind of takes away from the experience at the time. So if it's your first time seeing it, just take it in, all right? Don't talk during it. Don't try to crack jokes or whatever. I'm allowed to do. I got a pass for that because I've seen it dozens of times, and that's not an exaggeration. I literally have at least 20. I mean, every time I've been to that park, and we stay till close, we see that show. So. Fantastic. You're going to want to get there early. Sure, they'll let you in late, but you want to see the show from beginning to end. Get good seats. Get there early. Even 15, 20 minutes early is probably enough. You don't need to be there 2 hours early or anything like that. But, man, it's their nightly show. In the winter, they usually have 2 per night. In the summer, once, because, it's let out longer. There's a show every night, except maybe if there's, a really bad thunderstorm right then or something like that. But, okay, I got to wrap this up. But, there's more energy at that show than a blasted rock concert. And I've been to many a rock concert, and man, this thing, the applause at the end of the show, it's powerful. Man, I don't want to give away the show in case you're, unfortunate enough to have never seen it. Yeah, it's just everything about it. I don't even know what to say. Anything I could say would be, focusing on a trivial detail. Because, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. I can talk about each of its parts, but that won't do it justice. I just have to talk about the whole. Because, it's a jaw-dropping experience. If you don't like Fantasmic, why? Why? I have to ask why. Please let me know in the comment section. I'm sure it's some valid reason. But if it's not, if it's just meh, I just don't care about it. It's okay, you've probably just been distracted. You probably, your mind was elsewhere when you saw it, or you were on your phone, you were talking to people or something. If you gave the show your full attention at least once, you will fall in love with it, I'm telling you. The people I go with, they're sick of it, because, they've seen it enough. But, one more thing I want to mention before I end this video. Fantasmic is the only show, the only attraction in all of Disney World, the only attraction ever, I think, that I have a full-fledged fan theory on. And, there's a few others that I have, little things little, miniature conspiracy theories. But this one I have a full-fledged, full essay-length fan theory, which I may, down the road, even make a full video on if I get enough requests for it. But, yeah, this, oh, man, I just, by the time that show's over and the grand finale's done, I want to jetpack up to the moon, I want to go out and do something. I feel so inspired, so creative, it really sparks, it's such an emotionally powerful show, experience, 10 out of 10, and that's really saying something. I very seldom give anything a 10 out of 10 for. Also, I don't usually applaud things. I'm one of those people, if I go to a play or something, I'll clap if it's good. I'm not going to clap just because it's courteous or whatever. No, screw courtesy. But not in all scenarios. I just mean as far as that goes. You clap for something you respect. So I don't clap for much, but I always give a nice hoot and a holler for this show because it earned it. May they never get rid of it. The day they get rid of Phantasmic's the day I'm no longer Daniel Passover. Alright, I really gotta go now. Thanks for watching. Yeah, this is the top 2 is just as long as all the others. But, alright, yeah. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. Oh well. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.